welcome to another video from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander.
And I'm Grant.
And today we are doing, somewhat belatedly, our 2021 year in review wrap-up style video. Normally, people on YouTube do these
like in January.
on January 1st or December 31st.
If you know anything about us, we are anything but conventional.
It's a very polite and diplomatic way to put it. So 2021, hell of a year.
Actually, it was way better than 2020.
That's true. We played an unconscionable amount of war games, I feel like, this year. Even though...
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yes. Gosh, and it seems so long ago, because it was more than 12 months ago when the year started.
Yeah.
So... It was an interesting year in the sense that most stuff was still kind of closed down because of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So there weren't any of the wargaming conventions that we would normally have gone to.
No WBC.
No Buckeye Game Fest.
Buckeye Game Fest. No.
We didn't go to Origins.
We did not go to Origins. We were concerned.
Well, they postponed it. It was on late, and half of it was not late.
Yeah.
We went to Gen Con for one day.
We did, yeah.
Because that was more of just like kind of for fun and just to kind of.
Well, we didn't play any war games there, but we did. We did have some fun, and we bought some war-themed games.
That's true.
Like Blitzkrieg and
Reichbusters,
which is awesome.
Just a alternate
Nazi zombie,
dungeon
abomination dungeon crawler.
Hilarious.
Fantastic.
But so
I laugh when we play that one every time.
Yeah,
I want to play some more of it.
It's very pulpy, very trashy.
Yeah.
And like very cool stylized kind of comic book artwork.
Yes.
Cool. So it was an interesting year in that sense, in that like we didn't have all kind of the big regular events that we would normally go to, which love doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully this coming year there's more of that for us.
One of the things we do, or at least we've grown to really enjoy, is going and playing with friends.
Yes.
Right? Either people that we know from online, or from the, designer, developer, publisher community, or people that we've met.
Yes.
Because of the blog in some way, shape, or or form. And one thing we did this year that I remember when we did it, I was concerned about it, but we were vaccinated.
Oh, yeah.
Right? In April of 2021, early in the year, we went to a friend's house in St. Louis, and him and a couple of his sons and a couple of his friends got together for Basement Con.
Yes.
Right?
So that was one of my highlights of the year, is what I would say.
There was no doubt, because that was in April, and it was sorely needed, because literally we had done nothing.
It had been like
all year up until that point. We hardly even played in early January, late December, because of COVID and things that were going on.
And the prior year had been so dire because of that as well. So it was like... It was very small, it was very cute, but everyone there was kind of hardcore from a wargaming standpoint. So we played War Room, which was a blast.
And we played 2 games of War Room.
Yes.
The first one was about 5 hours, and the second one was more like 7 or 8, and we didn't even finish.
Yeah, but it was
a blast.
It was a blast to play. Very beer and pretzels, the perfect, everyone's yelling at each other, and it's a little bit chaotic, and you chuck a bunch of dice, and everyone's having a good laugh.
Well, and the thing about that game that we enjoyed so much, or at least that I enjoyed so much, is it's so gimmicky. Right? The commander sticks that you're using to push your unit, although we didn't use them very much, because they frankly didn't work that great.
Yeah, they're fairly impractical, but it's fun to pretend.
Man, I mean, that was so much fun, and the top-down world view of the map was just so unique and cool.
And you write out your hidden orders.
Fantastic.
And you try so hard to do them right, and every time you make at least one mistake.
It's if you haven't played that game, and if you haven't watched our video reviews and our written stuff, I just enjoyed that game. It's just an experience.
It's absolutely experience.
It's a wargaming experience, and we had a lot of conversations about, is this balanced? And we were belly aching about the Japanese naval power and the power of battleships and how overpowered they were, and why aren't aircraft carriers better? And that was part of the fun.
Yeah,
was complaining about that stuff.
And at the end of the day, who cares? Because it was fun.
Yeah.
There was no point that I wasn't enjoying myself playing that stuff.
That was a game that we played and got out of it the full measure of what it was designed for.
I think so, yeah.
An enjoyable experience. Maker of Axis and Allies, not a real hardcore war game, kind of beer and pretzels.
Yeah.
I mean, you would roll 15 dice at once.
You're supposed to get 6 people together and just have a blast.
A 15-hour soiree.
Yes.
Know. And that's what we did. We had a great time. And I think back on that fondly.
Very.
I miss it. I want to do more of it. And in fact, we're
reconvening
at the end of March, which I'm excited about. We've got plans to do, I think, Coalitions from Compass.
We're going to do Napoleon's Imperium. Which is a big 8-player Napoleonics game. Who doesn't want that?
I think we've talked about Sword of Rome. I think we've talked about
a bunch.
Company of Heroes, which is a big kind of miniature style multiplayer game. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be 3 days of fun.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that.
That's what gaming is about. And frankly, 2021, after coming out of 2020, was such a godsend. And it was still sucky. First 4 months of the year was horrible.
Yeah.
I had a surgery, and it was not fun. I lost a job in May, found a better job with better pay, which is all great.
Boy, that happened to me in 2021 as well.
Yeah, we've had a rough 2021.
2021 sucked.
But what's the old saying? You go through it, and you come out the other side better for it.
Yeah.
Better for having gone through it.
Yeah.
And I think 2021, from a gaming perspective and a life perspective and all that, I think we're better for it having gone through it. And but that experience was great with our friends. We also played Virgin Queen,
which was amazing.
We played Pendragon.
Love it.
What else? We played some other game.
Did we?
Cthulhu Wars? No, we didn't play Cthulhu Wars. Anyway, over 3 days we played 4 or 5 big games, had a great time.
And that's, when we have get-togethers, that's what I want to be doing.
Yeah.
I love playing these big games where everyone's involved, everyone's having a good time. And I like those experiences because when we play, it's 2 of us. And whilst I love and appreciate that, we never get to do the big stuff together.
No,
because it's never satisfying. It's not what they're designed for.
Yeah.
So when we get together, I'm like, let's play the biggest games possible, please.
Oh, yeah.
And I just that was such a fun experience. I'm looking forward to doing that again.
Yeah, and we are doing it again. So so I'm really looking forward to it. And then I look forward to this year. We're going to do WBC. I think we also
if it's on, we'll go.
Yeah, we will do Gen Con again. We also are going to do Buckeye Game Fest.
And that's officially on the books. We're going to be there.
Yep.
You should buy tickets to go.
What is it, like April?
It is
6th, 7th,
8th. First weekend of April.
Okay. Not the first weekend is the 1st and 2nd.
Is it?
So I think it's like that.
It's 7th through 10th, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to that. We did that in 2020.
We did it in 2019.
2019 and had such a great time.
Yes.
I remember going to our locally sensibly sourced buffet breakfast there in was that a Marriott?
I don't
or a Hilton
know.
In downtown Columbus. Beautiful downtown Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, it's such a chill convention in a very chill location. And there was, a couple hundred people there.
Games.
There's a war room with war games. We're going to be there.
Aardwolf Gary's
going to be there. David Thompson's going to be there.
Yep.
A bunch of people we know are going to be there. We're going to have coin games set up. I don't know if you know this. Me and Gary have talked about it.
Yeah, you guys talked about it. I was unable to come. I had a work thing till about 9:30.
So here's what we're doing. You guys are privy to this.
Yeah.
So I talked about having a couple of teach and play along coin sessions.
Okay.
So we'll have 2 coins set up, and I'll run some people through them, and you can run some people through them, something like that. We can do that a couple times.
Did you talk about what coin? What games were done?
Not necessarily, but I'll probably have Cuba Libre as one of them.
Okay.
But so if you want to come in and drop in and play some of those,
learn some coin.
We'll be teaching that kind of thing, and then he's going to teach us OCS.
Yeah, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, he's got a big game set up, and I'm just like, we're going to drop him for a bit. You got to teach me how to play.
Yeah.
So we're going to do
I'm going to read up on logistics and supply so that I'm an expert on that.
And then
before we go and play.
And then I was like, we're also, me, you, him, and David Thompson, we're going to play Angola.
Oh, I have that.
Yep. That's like,
I need to clip that.
We're definitely doing that.
I need to clip that because I haven't clipped it.
And then basically, we're just going to bring other multiplayer games and play whatever people want.
Well, I want to take Ankh because I really enjoy that game.
I'll probably take Pax Premier.
Yep. That's a great game.
Maybe.
So yeah, we're just going to have a good time.
Yes.
So please join us. I think it would be fantastic. But unfortunately, we didn't get to do that in 2020.
Yeah, it wasn't on. So I'm excited to do that as well because it's not big.
Yeah.
Which is what I really liked about it.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple hundred, 300-400 people there.
And that was like in 2019.
Yeah,
it's probably going to be less.
It's probably going to be less.
If I had to guess.
They have a kind of a war game market, a board game market where you can buy games for $10, $15 bucks.
Kind of like a flea market type of thing. Cool. Very, very, very.
It goes down in price every day until people buy them. So yeah, looking forward to that. So one of the things I wanted to talk about in this retrospective or whatever, look back, some of the games that we played this year, I thought were just so unique.
Yes.
And well done. And I think we say that every year. There is something every year. Last 100 Yards from a couple of years ago. A new tactical game. And it was so unique.
It did a lot of new stuff within a tactical system.
But every year has something like that. And this year there were some really unique and good games. Two that I'll go ahead and say, and we've yet to do our top 10 list. We've yet to.
That's coming.
We've still got 3 or 4 games we've got to play, but the 2 games I'm thinking about are Atlantic Chase.
Yep.
From GMT Games, designed by Jerry White. It is a look at, the naval operations in the North Atlantic during World War II, and frankly, most of it is kind of early World War II.
Yes,
right? When the Bismarck's around and the Scharnhorst and, those things are still a going concern, and there's still a Kriegsmarine. It's not been destroyed
not
and
been totally
wiped out. It's such a fascinating game. I mean, it deals with time displacement and trajectories of a route, and I'm saying a bunch of fancy words just so I sound smart.
But it's such an interesting simulation. It's such an interesting game to play around with.
Yeah.
Unlike any other war game I've ever played.
Yeah. And the thing that was so unique about it, and we played it, I want to say we played it, was it 3 weekends in a row?
Something like that, yeah.
The first weekend we did literally the 10-step playbook.
Yeah, just walking through, this is how to learn the game.
Yep, very well laid out, and it was literally, here's how movement works, and here's how interception works, and here's how blah, blah, and you just build on it. And by the end, you kind of had covered every aspect of the game.
Yes.
It helped us to learn it. Then we were able to put it into practice. We played a couple of games, enjoyed the crap out of it. That one's going to be in my top 10. I don't know if it's going to be... It might be top 3 just because it was so unique and fascinating.
Yeah, I loved that game. It was very good.
I'd like to play it again now that I'm talking about it. But that's one that I'm thinking about. The other one is a naval game as well. Captain Sea from Legion Wargames.
Yes.
An Age of Sail game.
Was that a 2022 game?
Yeah, it is. Absolutely it is.
Yeah, was it?
No, it's 2021.
Is it
2021 game?
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yeah. No, it's 21.
Like
it's 21.
Okay.
Fantastic game.
Very good.
Unique. It's a ship v ship, right? You're not a fleet versus a fleet. You're not controlling 10 ships apiece. You're literally a single ship against a single ship on the high seas, battling each other, battling the wind, battling commands that you don't know how to use until you figured it out.
And you're like, you're a frigate. You're not some 138 gun ship of the line. You're this small boat which is pretty maneuverable.
With 4 or 5 cannons and
you've got it's more like anywhere from like 10 to 15 cannons on each, and so it's just at a different scale. It's not overwhelming, and was a really, really good introduction to Age of Sail games.
Yeah.
Like, if you're like, ooh, that sounds interesting.
I want to dabble in it.
That's the place to dabble.
It is.
You know.
Then you can go to Flying Colors or some of those
Sails
other
of Glory
games.
or whatever it is.
But this was a great, I thought, introduction to it. It was
really good.
Smaller scale, simpler.
You learn some of the, like, really important, like, principles of sailing within that. Very, very cool.
Also, the system where if you have the wind, you've got a ton of actions.
Yes.
If you're against the wind, which you will always either or, right? You're never both going to have the wind.
Or you can be,
but you're not. You're just getting away from each other.
But then it's because it's relative speed. The way that
Yes.
the game works, you have an equal amount of actions.
Yeah.
It's such an
It's just interesting. I thought it was so unique. So those were two that I thought really stood out to me as games that I thought, boy, these are breaking new ground. They're kind of interjecting a new paradigm into wargaming, and I'd like to see some of those things continue. I don't know. What did you think was real special? There were a lot of great games.
Yeah, Atlantic Chase was something that was like, yes, this is.
But I already chose Atlantic
really
Chase.
Good.
You can't.
Yeah, but
I went first because I wanted to say both.
That's
those.
fine. One of the other big games of the year was Bayonets and Tomahawks.
No doubt.
Which was like a huge game. I think it sold out very quickly.
Yeah.
And we also,
because it's awesome.
Really good. And
French and Indian War, it's just awesome.
And it was designed in I don't know. The comment that I had heard was it's a game that feels like it was designed in a vacuum, because it doesn't like totally steal a bunch of stuff from otherwhere. There's no presuppositions with what the game is trying to do. It's like, I'm going to make a mechanic that does this. I'm going to make a mechanic that does this. And the mechanics don't really look like a lot of what other games look like.
No, it really doesn't.
With the
Not to mention the pieces and how they work as well. The shapes and
it's very
really
interesting.
Good.
It doesn't like it's got a lot of novel stuff in it. And that was very interesting. And that also, we kind of played that, it was amazing. But that also spurred us on to play a couple other French Indian war games. Mm-hmm. And then we did a little video about
a thematic,
all the French Indian war games that we've played.
Wilderness War, Bayonets and Tomahawks. What was that one from Tree Frog? The Deck Builder.
Few Acres of Snow.
Few Acres of Snow. What else? I mean, we had played 4 or 5.
Yeah, watch the video. There's a bunch.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But I'm
drawing a blank.
We thought that was such a cool idea that we then were like, World War One. Let's do that.
And I think the World War I event, the Guns of August event we did, didn't it last like 5 years?
It lasted 5 years.
Yeah.
As long as World War I was,
fought the whole
that's how long we played.
Of World War I. It was a fantastic event, but I'm going to be honest, I felt like I was eating the same sandwich every day.
It was too long.
And frankly, all those games were very unique.
Yes.
They dealt with the subject in their own way. We did videos on that. I've done some posts on it where I kind of gave my quick thoughts on the games. Really, that was fun. I enjoyed that a lot. It was just too long.
Yeah, it was a great event. We bit off way too much more than we could chew.
Yeah.
But that event was spurred, from us doing this little French Indian War theme video. Let's do a World War I theme video, because there was a number of good World War I games that were released this year.
Assault Artillery with Compass.
Assault Artillery Compass. Decisive Victory, Soissons from Legion War games. Compass put out the new version of Lamps Are Going Out.
Awesome game.
Which, isn't a new game in that sense, but was new for us.
But it's an updated version.
What a good game.
Well, and that was just it. We started with Paths of Glory. No. We started with Lamps Are Going Out. Then we did Paths of Glory, or did we do it vice versa?
We did Lamps. We played Lamps.
Lamps first.
Paths, yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
It is a much simpler game,
but
and not as
it's quicker as well.
It's a little quicker playing, not as unforgiving, I think, as Paths of Glory. But then we put Paths of Glory on the table, and I absolutely know why people think that is the quintessential.
You're
World
like,
War I game.
This is a classic for a reason, and it's very obvious.
It is amazing beyond amazing. There's so much depth there. We had a blast with that one. So that kind of started our event off, and then we played, Assault Artillery, Soissons,
Devil
Dogs of Bellow Wood from Worthington. We played, what was the one from Ray Weiss. I'm trying to.
That was Mons 1914.
Oh, that was such a good little game. Almost a tactical feeling.
Yeah.
Style game of a rearguard action by the British. I mean, we played 7 or 8 games.
Yeah,
the Great War, tanks expansions
at all costs.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that was a 2020 game that I really wish we had played then. That one was such a good game.
If you can get a hold of that, that's the
It was really amazing, and there were so many different. I thought each of those games really focused on the time, from early war to mid-war to late war, completely different war. Just like World War One. We played earlier tonight.
World War Two.
I'm saying, just like World War Two, it's, we played 1941 and we were doing Panzer IIs and totally different war than on the Western Front when the Panzer IIIs and IVs got out, and that is exactly what we experienced in World War One, and I loved it. I had a great time. An Attrition of Souls was another one that I know we didn't want to play, but after playing it, we were like, okay, I understand why people liked that. That was a good experience. I'm really glad we played that.
Yeah, there was a lot to like in that event. It's just,
I don't know if people really like that. I know those videos got really good views.
Well, I think World War One is one of those topics that, let me rephrase that. Anything that's not World War II often gets laid by the wayside, right?
It does. Everything's World War II. Or World War III. I mean, everybody likes the modern 1985.
Yeah, that's true.
World War III stuff, which is good.
But so I think we went playing so many so consistently for a period helped people kind of maybe nose at some of that World War One stuff and be like, ooh, maybe there's something interesting here. And I think it was a really good experience for me to play all those cool games, but also to share with other people something that isn't just more East Front, West Front, World War II stuff.
Yeah.
But also, what I noticed in some of those YouTube comments and Twitter interactions were people who were oh, thanks for covering World War One games because I studied this at university, or it's one of those things where it's some people's real niche of expertise.
Yeah.
And they come out of the woodwork and it's you have a great interaction and almost like a learning experience, or they give you more details about this thing. You're so that's what I really like about those kinds of events.
Yeah. I saw a comment recently on the blog, because I actually this past week posted my final, the final 2 games we played, Europe in Turmoil and Assault Artillery, and just summarized them both and attached the video links.
Europe in Turmoil was good.
Say that again?
Europe in Turmoil was good.
It's so good. I don't know if you saw that I'm doing an interview with Chris.
Europe in Turmoil too.
To Interbellum.
Electric Boogaloo.
I am looking so forward to that, because I was reading the rules and I'm like, holy crap. He has a beautiful mind. I don't know Chris Van Burden. I'm probably saying his name wrong. But I can feel the love and the attention to detail in those designs. We were blown away by that game. There were things about it that I was like, oh my gosh, that was the most amazing thing I've ever played. And it was really a Twilight Struggle kind of clone with its own unique elements, but it felt so different and unique and used symbols and symbology in a different way.
Yeah, and the 2 changes they made were massive and impacted the game very differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that game.
I had a good... So anyway, what was my point? I've lost my train of thought.
You were having an interaction with him based on the comment on the blog?
Yeah, so a comment from a gentleman, he said, thank you for doing this World War I event. He goes, my son and I don't know how old his son is, he didn't mention, were able to look into several of those games and play them together.
That makes the whole 4 months we played worth it.
It does. And it was kind of ironic that comment came at the very tail end on the very last post and made me think, you know what? I wouldn't even mind doing a Guns of August event next year. Now, I say that right now.
On Twitter now.
You need to tackle me and tell me to shut up. But I don't know. Had a good time with that, and I really look forward to doing other thematic.
Yes.
We've talked about Cold War is another one. I'd love to do the English Civil War.
Yes.
I think there's 3 or 4 games we've played, but I think there's 3 or 4 others that we could play. I also would love to do an American Revolutionary War, because there's 7 or 8 games I have that we've never played. Tarleton's
Tarleton's Quarter.
Quarter and Almost a Miracle and the new one from Maurice Suckling and Worthington.
Oh, Hidden Strike. Yep.
You know,
and you got War for America.
I've got War from America coming in a couple of in May. So maybe that's one we do. We've also talked about maybe a D-Day. Oh my gosh, what am I talking about?
No, but like it's
we could just do on and on.
Yeah,
but I want to keep them to 4 or 5 games. I don't want it to expand where you're out trolling the internet, buying game after game, and you're showing me these pictures, and I'm like, what are you doing? Yeah. That game's 25 years old. I want to play it, but what are you doing?
Yeah, I have an unhealthy relationship with games.
I think we both do, but I look forward to doing some other thematic, series like that. I think that's something I really want to do.
And whether or not those are like long-running series where we're playing a bunch, or if it's
3 or 4 games is probably what we need to do.
But it can be like, we can play like 1 or 2 of this theme games because we've already played 3 or 4.
We have.
And make a short video about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Cold War is an example. We played Twilight Struggle. We've played
1989.
There's 3 or 4 that we've played. Let's play 2 or 3 more and do a 5 or 6. And once again, introduce people to new themes, because everyone kind of gets stuck in World War II, I think, frankly.
Well, it's very easy to, because
there's so many games. How many Battle of the Bulge games do we need? Well, the answer is always one more, right? I mean, one more with a different design focus, and we found that out.
Every designer's got a good Bulge game in them.
They do. It's a good topic, but I look forward to that. One of the other things I was really impressed with in 2021, and I think it was kind of a result of what happened in 2020 where people were stuck at home so much, the advent of solo war games. I think there's been so many this year, and there's probably not been any more than usual.
But it's even more prominent.
It is.
Right.
I'm thinking, In Magnificent Style, second Deluxified edition, Herman Luttman, Worthington Publishing. That's a fantastic game.
Well, even Worthington, redoing all of the States of Siege stuff that started in 2021.
Keep Up the Fire. They've got Malta Besieged coming. That's a 2022 game. They did Tarawa, 1943.
Didn't they just have the French one?
Soviet Dawn.
No, they had Soviet Dawn.
Yeah, the French one, and I can't remember the name.
Yeah.
But it was just on Kickstarter, I want to say, a couple months ago.
That was a really cool part of 2021 is they start announcing all these States of Siege games coming out, which you couldn't get, most of them.
Or you get the old ones that are the baggy versions that...
And it's like, cool, you can play the game, but
these are deluxe.
Getting a bit of love, getting a nice version that's available and that's reasonably priced.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, that was a really nice part of seeing this, because those are really fun, good little solo games that like almost anyone can play.
What were those games from Fortress Games? Those 2 solo games.
8th Air Force, 20th Air Force.
Yeah.
You played 20th Air Force.
20th Air Force in the Pacific Theater. That was a great little game. I mean, I think the mechanics are really cool and the system's very cool. I think the production needs to expand. Now, they sent their 2 most recent ones, and it looks like they ticked it up a little bit.
They've knocked some stuff up on those.
So I look forward to playing those. But yeah, solo games, I just think, and everything has a solo mode now. GMT Games has added their GMT1 kind of department headed by Jason Carr, where they're developing solo modes for almost everything. This is a prime example. Red Flag Over Paris has a fully functioning solo bot.
And I think it's rare now, at least, especially from them, that you find a game that doesn't have a solo bot or is at least very easily soloable.
Yeah.
Like, it's rare that they release that kind of stuff anymore because they know so many people play on their own.
Yeah, and even us. I mean, I think of 2020 and 2020, early 21, we just didn't get together. I played a ton of solo games. I played some games solo. You played Dark Valley. You played...
Yeah, Dark Valley. I played Africa.
Yeah.
That was so good.
What was the other big game from Compass that you played? Arab-Israeli War?
Bar Lev. Played that one on my own. Also, that was a big game.
I'm less into those big operational strategic games playing on my own because I don't know.
I really like doing those on my own because
you can do them at your own speed.
Yes,
I can do them at your own speed.
I don't have to worry about like
Yeah,
I can I do a little turn
My
here.
turn took
do
2
some
hours.
and so I really
Yeah.
like doing that, and I think a lot of people do. If I had space, I'd have something like that set up over here, and then we could play our regular games as well.
If we had one more area where we could have a big table.
I mean, isn't that always
isn't
space,
that,
right?
I mean,
the problem is my house isn't big enough.
I need to build a bigger house so I can add another table. Yeah,
I don't have a gaming problem. I have a housing problem.
A housing problem. Absolutely. So solo gaming, I think, was another really good trend that we saw in 2021. The other thing I've really enjoyed is there seems to be a lot of designers out there and game companies that are making these small boxed games that just knock it out of the park. I mean, I'm thinking of 300 Earth and Water from Nuts Publishing. A remake of a game from maybe 5-10 years ago.
I don't even think it's that old.
Okay,
it's a Japanese title originally.
Yes.
It's a couple of years. I think it's 10. It might be,
but I mean, what a great little card-driven, area control, historically themed game. Not a war game necessarily, but we played that thing and I thought, damn, that's good.
Yes.
Like, I enjoyed it. And we played it in 35, 40 minutes.
And those are perfect little games to put into a bigger game session, or to take to a convention, or to take on vacation.
Yep.
And it's a way to just enjoy other aspects of your hobby that aren't massive games that take over your life.
And they're good strategically, deep games, but they're not so over.
Yeah.
They're not cumbersome in the rules. It's easy to understand, easy to play. Another one we played, Blitzkrieg 2nd edition, from PSC Games. Fantastic little game in a box. In a box this big. I mean, what's not to like? It's abstract. It's World War II, so it's not a war game in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, other than the artwork.
But it was a really fun game.
It was very good.
We bashed out, I think, 2 games of that in 45 minutes. Really enjoyed it. Had a great time. Another good one was Border States. I know we've got a review coming out on this one.
Yes.
An abstract American Civil War game that we had a great time with that.
Very different from any other game I've played.
It was very cool, very colorful.
Yes.
I loved a lot about it. This was a really good game.
Yeah.
And we
played their other game, Saladin.
Oh, it was so good.
Really good game.
But a game like this, 35 bucks.
Yeah.
And you can
25 euros.
You can play this anytime, anywhere. Teach your family. Another game like that, Red Flag Over Paris. What a fantastic game. An evolution of that Final Crisis series started with Fort Sumter by Mark Herman. What a great game.
Very good.
It takes that system and really expands it and deepens it and makes it more competitive. There's some area adjacency issues where I can't influence these places like I used to be in Fort Sumter. You can influence anything. This, you're going to be walling some people off, and there's some combat in that one, right? It's simplified combat, but it's there.
Yes. Yeah, I really enjoyed this, but it's one of those. This game takes 40 minutes to play.
If that, I think once you get the rules and the mechanics down and you understand it, you're going to play it in 30 minutes.
And it's such a tight and intense experience in there.
Yep.
That you're like, yeah, I can squeeze this war game into my lunch break.
Absolutely.
And it's just, I don't know, there is a really nice pocket for some of these smaller format games that newer designers and first-time designers are jumping into, where you're like, yes, not everything has to be a format, absolute
10-hour game.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
Like, you can have some of these smaller games that you're like, cool, we're going to play a big game.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, we'll just smash this out.
And it's funny because we have some of these games and that's exactly what we're doing.
Yes.
Oh, let's play this 4-hour game and then we're going to, at the end of the night at 11 o'clock at night, let's bash out 2 games of Border States and move on. And we have Caesar. Yeah. There's another game I feel like I'm missing that's in the... Anyway, to me, a huge game in a little box, that's just fantastic.
Yeah.
It's just, you can carry 5 of these with you. I could play this with my wife and my family. I'm going to be honest with you. This one I could play with my wife because we played Fort Sumter together over 30, 35 times. So I like that change or shift, kind of in the wargame world.
Yeah, and they're being picked up by wargame companies.
Yeah, GMT is a wargame company.
Like some of those other games, you'd have it published by maybe a Euro company or someone who maybe does some hybrid games. But having hardcore wargame companies make some of these, really puts it into that hardcore wargame market of yo dog, there's other stuff out of here.
What did you just say?
I said, yo dog. You guys can enjoy this too. It's not just all these huge, massive Hex Encounter war games.
Yeah, I'm going to start laughing and I'm trying to stop.
Oh,
I'm trying to...
It's very late.
You have thrown me for a loop now, sir. You have done it. We may have some blooper material. I'm going to stop. But
yeah, I have really enjoyed seeing the variety of games that have been released this year. And not just that, the variety of games that we've played. I felt like it hasn't just been... What's the next World War II game?
Yeah, I think we had a conversation the other day. I think there's only 3 or 4 Hex Encounter games, true Hex Encounter games we've played this year. Dark Summer was one. Fantastic.
Really good.
Enjoyed the hell out of that. But I feel like what we've played in 21 has been more hybrid.
Yeah.
Smaller games.
Or
different style.
Different styles, different tastes.
Yeah.
Even different theaters, different wars. Very interesting.
And I like it. I like the variety.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to talk about, because David Thompson continues to just kind of churn games out. If you don't know David Thompson has designed, his Valiant Defense series, Pavlov's House, Castle Itter. The third game in that series, we played together cooperatively, called Soldiers in Postmen's Uniforms. That guy is a Euro guy. He's not necessarily a traditional wargamer, and that's not a bad thing.
No.
I think he's starting to play more of those games. We're going to play Angola with him, hopefully in April. Looking forward to that, by the way. That game is one of those quintessential multiplayer games that's just interactive heavy, and I really like that. But he just keeps churning out great games.
Yes.
And he just had a Battle of the Bulge. Imagine that. Every designer has a Battle of the Bulge game in them. But Landserth Ridge, it's one of his solo States of Siege style feel tracks. It's different, but I churned another one out, and they're just great. And he has the third, the third volume of Undaunted Reinforcements that adds a solo mode. It adds a bunch of new content for both of the previous volumes, North Africa and Normandy. And we haven't played that one yet, and it's a huge box. I want to play it, but really appreciate guys like David and some of these other designers that I think are... Wolfgang Klein is another one. We played Assault Red Horizon 41.
Yep.
Fantastically reimagined style of tactical wargame. Just so cool. The innovation continues to accelerate.
That's absolutely.
The ingenuity continues to come out, and I love that. I want to play a game that's different. I want to play something that's unique. I want to play something that makes me think. I think some of the games we've played in the past that I've absolutely loved that aren't really war games, Bleeding Kansas, those style games that just make you think about something differently.
Yeah, it's not some stuffy Hex Encounter East Front game. This gives you something very different that has really something to think about in it, but also is a really enjoyable type game that is thematically fascinating.
Yeah.
And something you're going to learn with as well.
Yeah.
I think about all of the progress and the news and the buzz and all the new people who are designing stuff with the Irregular Conflict series.
Oh yeah,
and everything that's adjacent to that with the Zenobia Awards.
Yep.
And I kind of put that in there because I've all the finalists in that. A lot of those games, because they're short, small format, have a lot of kind of similarities where it's area controls or manipulations of things, irregular conflicts, a lot of them.
Yeah. Some of them aren't even war related.
No, yeah.
Cross Bronx Expressway.
It's conflict related.
Yeah, it's conflict, It's just not always combat.
It might be economic or socio-economic or geopolitical. Like, all of that whole design space is exploding with new people and new themes and new ideas, and I'm here for it.
To me, people have somewhat had I think the reins have been dropped. I feel like people are just willing to go out of their way to try something different.
I agree.
Free at Last earlier this year, that's a Kickstarter we backed from the Dietz Foundation. It's a war game on the civil rights movement in the 1960s. Would you have ever thought a game would have been... Now, I know there's like 1960 Making of the President, so I can see it, but man, I'm excited about that game.
Yes.
That's a game that I'm really looking forward to.
Even their other game, 1979 Revolution in Iran.
Dan Bullock's amazing.
You've never played a game about that.
Why doesn't Dan Bullock get more... What's the law? Acclaim? That guy's a beautiful mind. I said that earlier tonight, I think, about someone else. I just love the way he thinks and designs game. No Motherland Without. What a great game. 1979. What a great game.
Yeah, like...
so cool.
Very, very interesting stuff that's being done out there. And then on top of that, though, you're still getting classics.
Well,
Ted Race is churning out the Dark series, and you're like,
Mark Simonich's Salerno 43 just shipped. And
I'm like, please, I cannot wait for that to arrive. I love that system.
It's coming. Zoc Bonds,
I know it's going to be good.
So good. And he's working on more. And so excited to see those traditional games just continue to be made
at a high quality.
Remember from Salerno to Rome? Remember that game? That was a 2020 game. Edizioni. Sergio Schiavi, is that his name?
I think so.
Dang, my memory's good today. I feel like I'm on it. But he's designing other games. Give Us Victories, American Civil War. He's got some other titles that are in the works, and I'm just like...
Yeah, I want to see an Italian man's take on American Civil War.
Oh, I always love that. That's what Border States is kind of... like. It's a Frenchman's look at the border states.
Like, do you get anything extra? Do you get a different perspective? Maybe not. Maybe you do. Who knows?
I don't see how you couldn't. It's seen from a different set of eyes and a different viewpoint.
And I just, like, there's the potential for something fascinating.
Yeah. So anyway, I look at those guys, and I look at the small publishers that are emerging and coming, and I'm tickled pink, frankly.
Yes.
I love covering these new games anyway. I mean, I do those stupid designer interviews on our blog. Some of them get 500, 600, 700 views. Some of them get 1,000 to 2,000. Some of them tank, and that's okay. But I take a lot of pride in the blog being a repository of game mechanics and interesting strategies and looks at conflict. I would love to see people use that as a resource. I really would. Anyway, anything else from 2021 that we needed to cover?
The only other thing
I don't have Rona
that I'm like is we started our kind of monthly debrief.
Yeah.
Kind of format / series. That started January 2021.
1 hour to 90 minutes worth of rambling nonsense.
And almost like a podcasty style format.
Yeah.
And it was, something that we started doing, and I'm just really happy and kind of impressed that we stuck with it and did it every month
and really enjoyed doing it. I have a great time doing it because we try to not only cover what we're playing and doing and what's coming out, but we also try to pick a topic.
Yes. And
cover those. And I'm thinking, what were some of the best topics that we had? Small wargame publishers, people.
That was the most popular.
That was had 8,000 views over the year. We did wargame magazines, and I think people came back and said, "Well, what about this one?" And we're like, "That's why we did this, so that
please put that in the comments,
out,
please."
And then we might do another one once we experience those.
Yeah.
We did the Air War. We did thematic war games. We did. I'm trying to think of some the TPA story.
Yeah, war games. We kind of changed our opinions on.
That was a fun one because
very interesting.
Some of those games I remember thinking that was a bummer, but then we played it again and I'm like, oh.
Yes.
I really enjoyed it. Or vice versa. We really liked it the first time, and I'm like, oh, I'm kind of tired of that game now. Not because it's a bad game, it's just... Anyway.
So it gave us an opportunity to kind of discuss just talk about wargaming, really. In different,
in a relaxed format.
Because, we play games almost every week.
We do.
And we play a lot of games. We've experienced a lot of themes, a lot of mechanics, a lot of designers, a lot of publishers. And every single element of those put something new into a product. Mm-hmm. And we've seen a lot of it. Just purely volumetrically speaking.
Yeah.
And so being able to kind of talk through some of maybe the comparisons, or what are some of the things that I take away from all of this experience, or we've seen so much, hey, here's some of the stuff you maybe haven't heard of, use me as a resource. That format allows us to do that, and just to kind of put a lot of things out there, which I think and I hope people find useful and interesting, or entertaining at least.
I think what our main tenet in doing everything that we do is because we have fun with it.
Yes.
We enjoy it. We're not making money. We make a little bit, and we end up reinvesting it.
Yeah, I'm buying all the World War One games.
Yeah, World War One games. We bought new camera stuff this year. I mean, we're trying to make what we do a little bit better. We need to get you a new computer, because I know the computer doesn't always run that great. But we do it because I think we love it. I feel, and it's kind of interesting. I took a break from the blog for a couple of months. Started a new job in July. I really didn't write anything all of August and September. And there was a hole in me. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't feel connected to what we were doing. The wargame world, the publishers, the designers. And I missed that. So I went back out. I started it up again. And you know what? I'm feeling that feeling again. Not just the feeling that we get from having fun together every week and, eating Chinese food after playing a 3-hour game, and then playing another 3-hour game, and shooting stupid videos, and going to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I have to get up tomorrow and take my daughter to Davis High School at 7. But, I love the connectedness that I feel. I really do. And it's not from a place of ego or desire to be connected or know everything and everyone. It's because I feel like we're doing something to help people. I really do.
Yeah, we enjoy playing war games.
Yeah.
I love it. We have a good time with it. But I think one of the things I like the most is when people talking to people about war games. Mm-hmm. Because, you can talk about interesting mechanics. You can talk about really important themes or something you've never heard of before. You can learn something, be educational, or you can talk about some of the moral aspects of some of the things that are covered in these games. And we luckily have this platform where we just put ourselves out there, and so then other people who might watch our videos, when we meet them, they're like, "Ooh." Immediately jump into conversations that are very familiar.
Yeah.
And so I get to have discussions with people who might be experts on these subjects that I'm like, I played one game on it. It was really interesting. Mm-hmm. And they're like, I did my PhD on this. And I'm like, amazing. Please tell me everything. And we'll sit down and have those discussions with people. Yeah. And I really appreciate that, making those connections and, sharing that knowledge or that cultural experience with people with regards to, conflicts and war and some of the, frankly, nastier parts of our history, the lessons that we can learn about it, or maybe places we can shed light on and learn from. I really, really like that part of what we do.
Well, and I think the other thing I like in that same vein that comes as a product of what we do and who we meet, I realize how similar we are to other people, right?
Sure, yes.
We're just two nerds in our basement.
Yes.
Surrounded by games, playing these games, trying to understand better history, understanding that I love this stuff, I want to know more about it, and then talking about these games with other people. When we see them at a con or on an online chat or a video, whatever, I realize, we're just like everybody else.
Yeah.
We just happen to have a YouTube channel and a couple of people that provide us some games, and and we're fortunate in that way, but we're all the same. We're brothers, right? There's some brotherhood, and every time we've gone to those cons, we've met those brothers a brother from another mother, right? and they may be older than us or younger than us. You're pretty young. I just turned 49 now, and kind of blows me away.
1 year away from 50.
Yeah, that's
pretty
sickening,
gross.
But I realize we're just all the same. The reality is we're all little boys back in our mother's living room pushing Airfix kits, and I can't tell you how many of those gray German plastic toy soldiers I had, and the green American plastic toy soldiers I had, and had a pellet gun, and we would shoot them, and
and that's a lot of people's experience.
Yeah, and that's what got me started in that history, and then we went on to play. But anyway, we're all the same. I think we're all the same, which is kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, at least in our interests in this hobby. I have. 2021 was a very interesting year. We still didn't get out a whole lot, but the times that we did were amazing.
Cool. Yeah.
And I'm excited to do more of that in 2022.
Yep.
And to kind of keep this going and see what else new is out there.
Yeah.
Put together more war games, and I'm just fascinated because the way that I feel that things are going is that there is about to be an avalanche of new, like really new, fresh stuff coming out. I think we're really on the cusp of that. From GMT, from foreign publishers coming in.
Like you mentioned, we know there's 7 or 8 games out there that we're dying to experience.
And I think a lot of that's going to start hitting in 2022, and I'm like,
yep, and it's just going to engender more. I mean, that's how success works, right? I think back to Mark Herman and, his For the People, right? That first card-driven style game. And how many other great card-driven games have come about because of his experience? And now these coin series and a regular conflict series, and I mean, it's all the same. Somebody's going to come up with something new. And
is it Volko with Levian Campaign? Because that's exploding right now.
I mean, there's like 1,700 volumes in design and development, and
and currently we've got one.
And Inferno.
I feel like that's about to be like, and 5 new ones.
We enjoyed that game a lot. I didn't get that game a lot strategically.
Yeah, I'm not smart enough for that game.
Man, I loved it. And I do look forward to seeing these other games.
Yeah, there's
maybe we'll do better.
Yes.
Because we do know it better now.
I know
we played
what
it a couple
I'm kind
of
of
times.
supposed to be looking for, but there's more that I'm like, I want to play more of those so I can be like, this is... Because once that clicks, I think you'll be able to play a lot of them. And
get
then you're getting more out of it.
It's like coin games.
Yes.
We have 11 volumes, or is it 10 volumes out now? 10 volumes out now. We've played all of them. We love all of them. They're all unique. But it's also interesting because we've played some again that we've taken a break from. In 2021, we played Pendragon again. You've played so many on
I've played a lot of Pendragon.
Discord,
I love that game.
And Vassal. But I remember all those feelings kind of came rushing back to me as I was getting my butt kicked, and I thought, this game's amazing. And I think to myself, why in the hell don't we play this game more often? And then I think the same thing about Liberty or Death and Cuba Libre and Andean Abyss, which is such a great... we just need to play those games more. But I look forward to the next new volumes. China's War should come out this year.
People Power is eventually going to come out?
I think that's next year, but... The other one is the Red Dust Rebellion. I think that one should be out this year. I don't know what's not to like about it. Anyway, it's exciting. It's what do they always say? The golden age of wargaming, the golden age of whatever, piracy or film or baseball. I mean, we're living in that golden age, and I don't care what anybody says. This is the best age right now.
Yeah.
2021 was a great year.
Yes, there was a lot of new games, a lot of different games, a lot of, and I do feel that kind of thing is going to continue.
Yeah. Well, we've been doing this for 6 years now. 6 frickin' years.
Yeah.
That is insane, Alexander.
It is.
April of 2016, we're almost at April of 2022. By my math, that's 6 years.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
That's
ridiculous. Anyway.
It's a little bit scary.
So I look forward to doing this more.
Yep.
I know we've done a lot. I know we try to do a lot. I know some of our stuff is great. Some of it is just okay. But as long as we're out there connecting with people and the videos are connecting with people, then that's great. That's what we'll keep doing. So I look forward to 2022, and here we are in March of 2022 shooting this video, which is ridiculous. And we've already had a good 3 months, 2.5 months.
But it's still been winter. We're about to start getting into spring, and like the calendar's going to start opening up, and we got some really cool stuff that I'm very excited.
So forward to wearing shorts and coming over here. That's always freezing down in this basement in August when it's freezing.
Yes.
2 nerds in a basement. Come on.
So that was a bit of a ramble. 2021 kind of retrospective and review. Kind of a weird year, but 2022, looking forward to it. High hopes on the horizon.
Well, 2021 was a weird year, but it was also an awesome year.
Yeah.
Because it was the year we just finished, and I think it was great.
Yes.
So
appreciate you very much for tuning in. I've been Alexander from theplayersaid.com.
And I'm Grant.